Hi Kiwi, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Shining Pearl. We have officially completed Gonognogog's training arc. He's level 51 now. Everyone else got to level 56 before I just said, let's put them in the PC and protect myself from getting knocked out. We have unfortunately used up every last bit of offensive PP that Gonognogog had, though, because if we look at his move pool there, yeah, we're out. I'm gonna use an elixir. I also went rare candy hunting. That's why I'm standing here. I ended up not using them though. I figure I'll save them for after we beat the gym. This is Gonognogog's time to shine. He's already probably a bit over leveled. We need to let him have some bit of challenge and make me sweat a little bit. And at least I have the option of switching out if I need to. So with all that said, let me just real quick find a nice juicy elixir, which is probably in the medicine cabinet if I had to guess. Assuming I've even found one. There we go. We've only got two, but we'll go ahead and pop that on Gonognogog, and now all of that elixirs, for context, restore the PP of all moves the Pokemon have by 10, which is probably all we need. So let's head back to Sunnyshore City and finally take on that gym at long last. Again, sorry for the bit of a detour we had to take, but unfortunately that's the nature of how my Nuzlocke rules work. Casualties are rough. There's no easy replacement, and particularly in this game where your casualties, like your next highest level Pokemon is like 10 to 20 levels lower than you would ideally want it to be. I think I remember the gym being up into the north, or up into the left rather. Here we are. Okay, so we're into the electric gym. So in typical fashion, I will ramble about various Gen 1 Pokemon. All right, looks like we've got the spinning platform sort of gimmick going on. Okay, fair enough. Okay, I see. So I need to roll this. Hey, Kiwi. I'm going to make it clear right now that I may have needed a bit more sleep than I realistically got, but if that's my excuse for every recording, then it's kind of just the status quo, is it not?
Can you make it to the gym leader? You sure now?
And I mean, we've been rewatching the Signalis playthrough recently, and it's kind of painful how oblivious I was to so many obvious things. Like, I never learned how to reload the gun, and you were taught how to reload the gun in the very first episode. That was not a good look for me. All right, so we've got Pachirisu. I go for the extra sensory here. All right, but let's keep at it. Let's keep rambling about Gen 1ers. I've got a nice little list so I can keep myself on track. Since we're in the electric gym, why don't we talk about Magnemite, Magaton, Voltorb, and Electrode? I think those are some good options, and may as well toss an Electabuzz while we're at it. So starting off, Voltorb, Electrode, I mean, it's kind of this awkward situation of, yeah, they're nostalgic to me, but they're also kind of super basic, honestly. They're literally just Pokeballs with eyes, and I think they have to lose some points for that. And yet I can't help but hold a special part of them in my, or a special thought for them in my mind. Because I kind of like the idea that they were made to be Pokemon's equivalent of a mimic, if you think about it. Because in the Gen 1 and Gen 2 games, all the items on the field looked like Pokeballs, and they still do. Like, the items you pick up on the ground look like Pokeballs. And they made Voltorb and Electrode so that they could impersonate those Pokeballs on the ground, and then you'd be like, oh hey, cool, an item, let me get this, and then we toss into a battle instead. So I can kind of understand why they did that. It's the equivalent of any RPG designer creating a mimic design.
The gears spin round and round, I spin down and out.
But that said, I think, especially Electrode just being a bigger Pokeball with that's upside down in color, it's just a little bit. It doesn't do a lot, I guess. It's a tad underwhelming, I suppose, is how I will describe it. Oh, we got Paralyze. I'm gonna toss a Paralyze heal before I forget. For context in the Nuzlocke rules, Paralyze prevents me from switching out. I don't know what I do if I am paralyzed and confused. I think I have to stay in on those instances, because confusion's supposed to force me to switch out.
This is the toughest gym in Sinnoh. That's why I'm here, to learn the best battle techniques around.
But it is what it is. I also particularly like in Gen 2, I remember the Team Rocket, when you raid their final hideout, I believe it was their final hideout, they had like 2 giant generators being powered by electrodes. And to beat them, I remember you would have to beat them, and then they would classically, when you go on to take them, when you take them on, they would self-destruct or explode, and so they were terrifying. They were really terrifying as a kid, because you're like, I'm gonna go up against these and they're gonna just knock me out right away, aren't they? I also remember you teamed up with the champion of the region in that area, Lance. Yeah, Lance got to be the champion 2 times in a row because he's just so cool. And I don't know, it's nostalgic, but their design isn't terribly exciting. I did actually use Electrode on a competitive team for a little while because Electrode is extremely fast. Electrode had the highest base speed stat in the game, I want to say. And if not the highest, certainly he has been in the top 10 for a very long time. I think he's a little bit slower than Ninjask and Deoxys speed form, but if I'm comparing him to those 2 Pokemon, then you know he's fast. You're tough. And so like Electrode was really fast. His special attack was mediocre. It wasn't anything incredible, but back in Gen 1, a decently high special, because it was just special back then, not special defense and special attack, meant that you were both specially bulky and specially offensive. So it had its merit. We're gonna get paralyzed in every battle, aren't we, Kiwi? Well, that's what we have paralyzed hills for, I suppose. Anyway, Electrode, competitively, you used him for his speed. I want to win. I want to channel that desire through my guitar. I want to win. That desire makes my Pokemon a star. Oh, he was singing, wasn't he? Oh well, I totally said guitar wrong there. Anyway, but yeah, the Electro didn't stay on my team for long. I was mostly just messing around with lead Pokemon. Electro doesn't really have a lot going for it as a lead. Can't do Stealth Rocks, didn't have Tailwind back then. Electroweb wasn't a thing. But the team that I did use it on for a little while was a doubles team centered around Explosion and Protect, which is quite obviously very easily countered by anything with the ability Damp. So for example, Quagsire, Damp is an ability that makes it so Self-Destruct and Explosion just don't go off. It's kind of funny. I think the idea is you moisten the fuse maybe, but that was the ethos behind it, and so it countered that kind of build. And Quagsire wasn't uncommon in competitive back in Gen 4 when I was running this strategy, because it was, I mean, Gastrodon was objectively better, I want to say, but both Gastrodon and Quagsire were water ground types, which are fairly good for defensive typing on their own right, but then their base defense and HP were also very solid, so they were very good tanky type Pokemon. I'm gonna get paralyzed, aren't? Yep, called it. One paralysis per battle. Just kind of knew it was gonna happen. Anyway, what else can I say here? I don't know. The point being, there were definitely some there was easy counterplay. Also, not to mention double battles, you're constantly having at least one, if not both Pokemon on the field using Protect at some point, and my whole idea was either using a Ghost type so that it didn't get hit by normal type moves, so again, Self-Destruct or Explosion, or having a Pokemon use Protect so it doesn't get hit by the spread of Explosion. But if my opponent uses Protect, then I have lost a Pokemon, and they have not. We couldn't win. No encores for us. I got this idea from Pokemon Battle Revolution. So, Pokemon Battle Revolution had an extremely difficult, I don't know if I'd call it story mode, but the equivalent of what a just battling nonstop sort of Pokemon game would have as its final challenge, I suppose. And there were a series of really difficult double battles that you had to win, including someone who had like a Latios and Latios combo, and a team of entirely that strategy that I was just describing that spammed Explosion or Self-Destruct, comboed with Protect on their side. There were some really nasty combos in Pokemon Battle Revolution for those challenges, I have to say.
Look at the way I'm dressed. Can't you see that I'm hardcore?
That's why I gave you that voice, I guess. Also, I will briefly address it. Something changed about my microphone. It is now not, even if I have its gain switch set to 0, it's still at maximum volume. So, my voice is going to clip the mic every now and again, and I apologize for that. There's not much I can do about it until I do some heavy set troubleshooting. Frankly, I don't even know if I can accomplish that. It looks like most of the dialogue is coming in through appropriately, and then every now and again the mic just decides to peak, because why not? Pikachu, I guess we'll just extrasensory. She has a lot of Pokemon. I'm gonna have to use another elixir to get through this gym, aren't I? Oh well, it's fine. Maybe I should give Gonagog another TM. I think that's what I'll do, actually. After this battle, I'll peruse the TMs he can learn, and we'll give him one more buff to his overall move pool. Would have loved to have Earthquake on him, but Quibblecore got that one, so no, it's fine, though. Anyway, long story short, that's kind of the extent of my love and nostalgia for Voltorb and Electrode. Cute in Gen 1 and 2, competitively sort of viable for a stupid gimmick strategy that was overall not terribly viable in realistic competitive. Worked against NPCs well enough, but that's about it. Or people who don't really know how to play competitive Pokemon, or don't understand why Protect is so good. But that's likely the extent of it. And then I will say they're Hisuian forms from Legends Arceus. I like them. I like the idea of making them. I'm paralyzed. Yay. I like the idea, the design behind them. It's cute. It's fun. Oh, this Pikachu's gonna set up on us. I'm gonna have to paralyze, heal, and switch out because I don't like where this is going. That said, we should be able to easily handle it by switching out to Quipplecore. Because I doubt it has anything. Although, can Pikachu learn Energy Ball? Maybe I just tank it out and hope that I don't... Oh, I'm scared. That Pikachu has tripled its special attack stat now. Even if it does anything other than an electric move, I think we're in bad shape. I'm gonna have to switch out to Quipplecore, I think. Oh wait, I can't switch because I'm paralyzed. Oh, that's gonna be unfortunate if we die here. Let's hope we don't. Okay, it's committed to just getting as stacked as possible. Now it has 4 times damage. But hopefully, okay, we got the attack off. We're fine. That had me sweating for a minute there. All right, we're fine. We are fine. So anyway, what did I want to say here? Even. Hisuian form, I like it. I like the idea of making them wood because electronics didn't exist in Hisui, really. So a cute design choice. I like it overall. It just, again, they don't do much for me. They're a solid B or C tier for nostalgia purposes, but if I'm being objective, they're probably like a D tier in terms of design, and maybe a C tier for competitive viability in the brief chance they had. Moving on, let's see, Magnemite, Magneton, and may as well toss in Magnezone while we're here, why not? So, I do think I'm going to switch out to Quipplecore. I'm going to switch out to Quipplecore here, just to make my life a little bit easier. I don't want these Pikachus setting up on me. So, Magnemite, Magneton. The classic Gen 1, take the base form and add more heads when it evolves. Again, I've complained about this in the context of Geodude, not Geodude, Doduo and Diglett, and I know there's at least one more, but I'm blanking. But you know, again, it was their early game. They were kind of discovering how to design Pokemon, if you will. And there were things that worked, and there were things that they realized they could be more creative with down the road. And I respect that. For like the first gen, I'm willing to give them some leeway. So then begs the question, how do I value Magnemite, Magneton? Well, there's one point against them, and that is how many doubles I got when I used to collect Pokemon cards. I think it was Magikarp, Slugma, Numel, Makuhita, Shelder. I don't know. There were just some Pokemon that were just in basically every starter pack of Pokemon, and you just got kind of sick of seeing them after a while. You almost expected them. But that aside, I think Magnemite is precious. It's so cute. I certainly have some nostalgia from Pokemon Snap, where you had to solve that little Magnemite puzzle, where you kind of kited them all together using apples to then make them eat them and fuse together and become Magneton. And for a brief second, you technically have a middle evolution of a 2 Magnemite Magneton.
I was being serious. Don't laugh at me. I mean it.
I don't know. It's nostalgic. It's cute. I have a picture of it being very happy and having like a smiley aesthetic to its eyeball, and that's about it. But regardless of that being it, I still think fondly of it. Magneton, for a little while, was a competitively viable Pokemon, had fairly decent bulk because of its steel typing. Steel types, again, are probably the best defensive type in the game. Actually, in fact, they are. Probably second to, probably the closest comparison might be Fairy type. I think Fairy's pretty good defensively. At least it's very good offensively.
Whether you're a trainer or a guitarist, it takes dedication to improve your mad skills.
I should have given him the Tristan voice. Anyone who's talking about mad skills needs the Tristan voice. Oh well. And his name is Lonnie. That's another reason he needs the Tristan voice, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, Magneton was for a little bit viable. I never really used it. I did have it on like a casual playthrough team at some point. I don't remember much about it though. I don't really have I forgot to give I forgot to give Gonagnagog a new offensive move. I'll have to pay attention to that after this fight if I can remember this time. Because Extra Sensory is going to be out of moves pretty soon. Okay, a nice crit. I'll go for Grass Whip here to try and maybe not have to use up all my Extra Sensory before we make it to the boss. And there's our next paralysis. Like we're literally not going to leave a single battle of this gym without being paralyzed. It's kind of frustrating. Oh well, it's a good thing I brought 10 paralyzed heals. Place your bets on how many will be left by the end of the gym. So yeah, Magneton, to my understanding, was competitive for a while. I just never really got to experience it. Magnezone, on the other hand, was a pain.
My skills seem to have let me down. I must have been out of tune.
Because it was a electric steel type. You know what electric steel type is super weak against? Ground type, because it's super effective against both electric and steel. So it's 4 times effective. That was Magneton's biggest weakness, but in Gen 4, when Magnezone was introduced, it got the ability Levitate, which you've certainly heard me ramble about before, Kiwi. It is just a dominating force in competitive and casual play because it gives the user complete immunity to ground type moves, covering its greatest weakness. All right, so we can get Shadow Ball, Rock Tomb, Skill Swap is useless. What are you? Payback? I could make an argument for Payback because we're always going to be able to get the double damage from being slow. Honestly, Payback might be a really good option for us, especially because our special attack isn't that impressive. Flash is not a damaging move, so we don't want that. Dream Eater is too risky. I don't want to rely on sleep tactics. Flash Cannon I could make a consideration for, but we already have Heavy Slam as our steel type move. Strength is solid damage, but it's not effective against anything, so I think I'll leave that. And Rock Smash has too low a base damage. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with Payback because that's gonna be some solid damage, and I think I want to pay attention to the type coverage. I don't think we have the best in that regard, and it's not like we have. Our moves are kind of iffy. Like Grass Whip is good for covering the rock ground type moves that we'll see, the Pokemon that we'll see here or there, but it's limited by the fact that it only does more damage the heavier the Pokemon is. I don't know. We're gonna get rid of Iron Defense and replace it with Payback, so now we should have a solid move that we can reliably have base 100 damage on, and because we have a deleterious nature for special attack, our attack is actually our best stat, so... How to solve this becomes the next question one must ask themselves. Am I being dumb? I feel like I'm being dumb here. Does it matter what direction I pressed? Oh wait, here's our solution. I gotta press this, I bet. There we go. Okay, so these red buttons rotate the things 180 degrees. I'm not just looking for tough trainers to battle. I've been battling here because I want to feel the rush. I'm trying to think. So, Magnezone was incredible. It had very good special attack and reasonable bulk just by its typing alone. And again, Levitate just carried it literally into the air. It had Flash Cannon and probably Thunderbolt, if not using Thunder, for some very solid damage output. It was an all-around really strong Pokemon, and I think it's seen some relevance into more recent generations, although I don't know why. I think because it can set up maybe Electro Web, which is, or electrical terrain. So I stopped playing competitive Pokemon before terrains were really a thing. I did play some amount of Sun and Moon, which is where they were introduced, I believe, with the Tapus, Tapu Lele, Tapu Fini, Tapu Koko, etc. Their passives, or their abilities rather, make them set up a terrain, which is kind of similar to weather effects, except it's considered separate. So now you can have a terrain and a weather effect on the field at the same time, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But like weather, terrains have certain effects. For example, the electric terrain, I don't actually remember what it does. I don't remember. Well, that's my issue. I haven't really played with any of them, so I don't really know how they work. I've heard it in passing. I just can't remember now. But the point being is they at the very least should enhance the damage of the corresponding type. Hooray, another paralysis, yay! At least we'll get to know how many trainers were in this gym by the end of the run, right? It'll be equal to the number of paralyzed heals I've used. We'll I'm gonna try for a Grass Knot here and see if I can knock out the Raichu, honestly. I feel like I can. Why is it quick attacking a paralyzed Bronzong? Probably the slowest Pokemon this Raichu will ever meet in its entire life. Oh well, what you gonna do? Anyway, but yeah, Magnezone, like, from an aesthetic perspective, I'm not a big fan of its design. It looked really doofy to me as a kid, but I do respect what it's going for.
Your power is so shocking, it's made me go numb.
It looks like a UFO, and I think that's cute, but it kind of loses its original charm. Like, the whole idea of Magnemite and Magneton was that they were a bunch of magnets, and Magnezone, mind you, still has the magnets. It's got the little like equivalent of grabby hands in the form of magnets on its sides, so it fits the picture. But it's just, I don't like its design, honestly, but from a competitive nostalgia point of view, certainly I respect it there.
Spark. This is what our gym leader did to the gym out.
What? Oh,
This is what our gym leader did to the gym out of boredom.
that's the problem with blind reading with this voice acting, is that sometimes you start reading something and then you jump to the next line, or you're waiting for the next line to load, and your brain just does not have like enough context to predict what they are going to say, and sometimes they just say the most outlandish things. I don't think this was outlandish, it definitely wasn't what I expected it to be, I guess. Anyway. This is the downside of being a physical attacking Pokemon in a gym filled with Pokemon with the ability Static, the ability to have a 30% chance of inflicting paralysis against an opponent that uses a physical move on you. Oh well, what are you gonna do? You make it work, I suppose, is what you do. Wait, how? How am I faster than a Luxio? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I guess I can't really easily kill it with Payback then. I'll use another Grass Knot. Oh, wait, now it's faster. Why did I? Oh, we must have the exact same speed then. We have a speed tie going on. That's weird. Yeah. Okay. So the way speed ties work in Pokemon is if both Pokemon have the exact same speed stat, they take turns with who goes first, or it may just be like a 50-50 RNG sort of situation. I forget which. Either way, that Luxio and my Bronzong have exactly the same speed stat. That's kind of funny. A B-Barrel. It probably has Crunch. I'm gonna go ahead and heal, not that I think it can kill us. I just don't want to risk it. Anyway, let's see. Do I have anything else to say about Magneton, Magnezone? Not really. I think that's kind of the long and short of it. So let's talk about Elekid and Electabuzz. So, I like that they have a B-Barrel here because it's meant to be a counter to any rock or grass or ground types that you have. Like if I had Quibblecore out there, he probably would survive a waterfall because of how high his defense is, but also he takes 4 times damage, so maybe not. I don't know. We'll go ahead and use Grass Knot here. This should actually hurt a whole bunch because we have the super effective on it. Ugh, sleep. That's inconvenient. Well, at least it stops us from being paralyzed, right? Right? Ugh. Anyway. What was I gonna say? Do we fall asleep next turn, so I can at least finish off the B-Barrel. Elekid. Honestly, mixed opinions. I remember Elekid in the anime. I think it was in one of the movies. Like I think it was the OVA short before the movie of Pokemon, the movie 2000, the one that was about the legendary birds and Lugia. And it was like Pikachu getting into a rivalry with Elekid. I think that was that one. I could be mistaken. So I have some nostalgia for that. I like Elekid being kind of like the fighty character. Like he's super competitive, super fighty. Beyond that though, its design is okay. I think their ethos with baby Pokemon in Gen 2 when they were first introduced was just the notion of they should be egg-shaped, and a lot of baby Pokemon are kind of oddly egg-shaped, Elekid being no exception. Do I like that design philosophy? I do not. I don't think it looks that good, but I do like the electrical flood aesthetic to its, I don't know if you'd call them ears per se, but the little prongs on its head, its horns. I think that's really cute. This Luxio has crit on us at least twice, if not 3 times. I am a little bit miffed by that fact. And I only lose the speed tie when I'm using Payback, which is kind of frustrating. Oh well, we'll probably finish it off with Grass Whip since I don't expect to need it very much elsewhere. Anyway, I don't know, Elekid's cute, certainly not competitively viable, and I've never played Baby Cup, so I couldn't comment beyond that. Of course we're paralyzed. Of course we're paralyzed. couldn't go to battle without paralysis, right? I hate this gym, Kiwi. I actually hate this gym. Oh my goodness. Oh well, what are you gonna do? We win the battle. We lose the war, but we win the battle. I guess. I don't know. I've got to be careful about the levels of Quipplecore and Captain Squawk. They're almost at the point where they will eat Gonagagog if I switch out to him. Spark. Hopefully we're out of gym traders and we're up to the gym leader now, because it looks like we're almost there if not. Alright. Can't go through that electricity, right? Oh, I can? Okay. I just assumed that was an impassable barrier. Looks like we have one more trainer fight. Okay. Can I jump off here? That would be cool if I could. I assume I have to somehow get back down there. I make that grand assumption. Perhaps this way? Oh, wait, I'm dumb. I just go this way. Okay, fair enough. Alright, let's cure that paralysis, use a super potion. And then Electabuzz, I'm a little bit more fond of Electabuzz and Electivire. Electabuzz, I remember using a lot in Pokemon Stadium 1 in particular, possibly a little bit in Pokemon Stadium 2, and the main reason for that, it was actually fairly decent using the rental Pokemon. It had pretty much all of the elemental punches, which were great. It had Ice Punch and Thunder Punch at least, and I think it had Fire Punch too, which is funny because I don't think they gave that love to Hitmonchan.
Wow, I'm surprised you came this far, but you'll have to turn back. There isn't any chance you could ever beat me.
But that's about the extent of it. I never really used Electabuzz in any competitive sense. I just liked it in Pokemon Stadium, so there's a bit of nostalgia for there. Design-wise, I think it's really cool. I really like its design. Yeah, it's got this weird kind of like pudgy body idea that is now maybe a little off-putting to me, but as a kid, it was so cool. Grass Knot I don't think is going to do very much against Steelix. The Steelix is kind of a reasonable counter to us. It might be worth switching out for him, honestly. Although I don't think I have a good answer. Manny the Dude Buster, maybe? I doubt Steelix has any grass moves. Let's switch out to Manny the Dude Buster and give him a chance to shine. But I think overall, design-wise, Manny the Dude Buster is looking at me with determined eyes. Oh my goodness, that's precious. I think overall, I really do like Electabuzz's design. I think it appeals to that edgelord of a kid I was back in the day. Beyond that, competitive viability was never really that significant, and he's not bulky enough to make Eviolite work in later generations. I don't know how he did early, but I don't think he ever really was a standout when you have Pokemon like Starmie to carry Thunder, or basically there were so many other Pokemon that could use electric-type moves that having an electric-type Pokemon wasn't your priority, and frankly, if you're going to use an electric-type in Gen 1, or especially Gen 2, you're using Zapdos. Zapdos was really relevant and competitive for a very long time. Flying and electric type was decent typing because it let you avoid electric type's biggest weakness. Yeah, you have to take ice weakness, which is ice type moves are fairly common in competitive Pokemon, but regardless, it was so bulky that it could usually tank an ice beam for most of the threats on the field. It had incredible special defense and pretty solid special attack. You could also run Drill Peck for some physical offense and flying type coverage, so it was all around a very solid Pokemon. I like that I'm talking about Zapdos when I'm supposed to be talking about Electabuzz, but I think Zapdos kind of fell off as the generations went on, as most Gen 1 Pokemon did, because power creep is just so devastating. Oh my goodness, I'm having PTSD flashbacks. Alright, Manny. Vengeance. Show them what you can do. Let us have vengeance for your previous fallen, or your previous fall. But yeah, I guess back on the topic of Electabuzz, Electabuzz, Electivire, and such, I think overall, Electivire, kind of the same idea. I think I like Electabuzz's design a bit better. Sadly, Electivire has been that classic Pokemon of just never as good as anything else that you could use instead of it. Like, solid, but not really relevant ever. Especially come Gen 5 when your go-to electric type became Thundurus. Thundurus was just such a behemoth and competitive Pokemon when he came out in Gen 5. There was just no going back. A Pokemon with Prankster that can use Thunder Wave and Stealth Rocks as a lead and have very convincingly strong damage and speed. It was a menace. Thundurus was a genuine menace.
What makes your Pokemon so special?
And as a result, it just was not ever something you wanted to see. Like, why would you use Electivire when you had Thundurus as an option? I feel like I have somehow undone everything that I set out to do. I don't think this is the correct way. I probably have to turn these things one more time, maybe? You know what? I'm dumb. I think I have to go push the green buttons a little bit more. But yeah, I did use Electivire competitively for a little while because I thought I could make it work. It wasn't worth the effort, sadly. Electivire is just not irrelevant Electivire is sadly not relevant in the eyes of competitive.
I don't exactly know where I'm supposed to go, Kiwi.
Clearly I need to turn something here. I think I'm just too stupid for this puzzle. I'm gonna fast forward, I'll be right back. Haha, I've solved it. Okay, so I know we've spent most of this episode rambling about Pokemon. We're at a half hour, so I'd like to call it an episode here, if you'll forgive me, Kiwi. I am a little bit tired, and I think I need to drink some water from my throat. But I promise the next one, we're starting right at the gym leader. We're going to beat this gym, and we're going to go on our grand adventure towards the Pokemon League. So with all that said, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you're awake, I hope this is helping you fall asleep. If you're sleeping, I hope you're sleeping well. In the next one, we take down Volkner, and then we set our eyes on the Pokemon League. Until then, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.